still from the front of my pewter on my lino sheet. So the next two steps, what we want to do is the leaves of the flower. So when it comes to the bigger pieces or the bigger rings like this, that is divided into smaller sections, we do one section at a time. So I would now do this section, flatten and continue, then do this section, flatten and continue. I don't do all of them together. Okay, so I'm going to first do the little leaf that's on the inside, from working from the front of my lino with a medium to a hard pressure, draw in that little leaf. I'm not going to flatten now because I don't want to flatten this high. Okay, I'm going to wait. So I'm going to talk in the meantime, but I'm not going to continue with my work. So what I want to do is I want to keep this height here that I've got. I don't want to flatten it. It's basically going to be inside that leaf. I'm going to try and show it to you on this one. So this little one is a little bit flat. This one is higher. So if I now flatten this, it doesn't give me anything. So I want to keep it, and I don't want to flatten this around. I'm going to immediately go on to draw the outline of my next leaf. Okay. So we've done that little one from the front. We're not going to flatten now as we did with the first 3 rings. And then we're going to continue with the next leaf, the bigger leaf. Okay, so still working from the front of the pewter on my lino sheet. I'm immediately going to do the next leaf, the bigger leaf that surrounds. And I'm not doing this little indent that we're going to do from the back. So I'm doing the overall big leaf, and then only am I going to flatten. So now I'm going to flatten on the hard surface. We always flatten on the hard surface. Do not flatten on the lino because it's going to give you an indent in your pewter. So we're going to flatten using our paper stump at a flat angle, and we work towards our design. Turn our pewter so that we can work around our design. And you can see that lifting up already very nicely. And then I'm going to take my Teflon tool and tidy up. Make sure that it's nice and neat, and then take my metal ball tool and I'm going to trace the surrounding area. This is a soft pressure that I'm using, and then I'm going to continue with the next one. We're not going to do this line now, we're going to do that right at the end. So now I'm going to continue with the next leaf. Again, I'm working on the front of my pewter on my lino sheet for the next step. First, I'm going to do that small little leaf on the inside, medium pressure, and then I'm going to do the bigger leaf. And then I need to flatten. So I remove my lino sheet. On the front of my pewter on the hard surface, using my paper stump, I flatten towards my design. Pressing all of that extra height into that leaf. And then I take my Teflon tool and I tidy up my edges. So the neater that you work now, the neater your mandala is going to come up at the end of the day. So it's important to work neatly with every ring that you complete. Once done, I can move to the next one. On the tile with my paper stump at a flat angle, and then push it right into that design there. And then I always go a little bit around just to make sure that everything is still nice and flat. Get all of that height in there. And then I need to use the Teflon tool and remove any bumps that it left behind. So our next step will be to add the little ridge of the leaves. So this curvy line that it's got on the inside, so we'll do that now. I'm just going to give everybody a little bit of time for those that are following along to get to the same point. So I'm going around my whole flower at the moment, just tidying up before I continue with my next design part, and then do one trace all over to make sure that I've got nice and crisp, clean lines. This is a medium pressure, or actually a soft pressure. It's basically softer than writing pressure. All you want to do is just remove any bumps that you might have. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there. So I'm going to continue with our flower. So the flower that we've done up to now is we've done all the petals. It's nice and flat around, and I've got nice straight edges, and I'm happy with my design. I've got smooth edges. I don't need to tidy up anything anymore. Now I can continue adding the little detail from the back. So now only I'm going to put it on my layers of felt. I'm going to turn my pewter upside down so that I'm working from the back. And then I'm going to take that same metal ball tool, the small one, the 0.5 millimeter, and with a medium pressure, not hard, not soft, with a medium pressure. You don't want to press too hard now that you're going to destroy the shape of your flower. And you don't want to put your height too hard on the front of your hand. So my height is normally at the back, or my pressure. So I just start from the outside edge and I draw in that detail line. And you try and do this with a smooth, even motion so that it doesn't make any bumps. So I start from the outside and I draw in with a smooth, even pressure, that little curvy line from the back. So I'm going to stay on the back and I'm going to go on to the next one. Again, I start from that little corner with a smooth, even pressure. Draw in that curvy line. Once you've traced all of them from the back, we can remove the layers of felt. We remove our liner sheet as well, and we turn our pewter face up onto our tile. So now you can see we've got these nice little detail lines in the front, but I need to get rid of all of this negative space because we worked from the back. So again, I need to flatten. So on my tile, I flatten with my paper stump at a flat angle, and I'm slightly away from my design. I don't start here, I start a bit away, and I flatten towards so that I can lift up all of that leaves again. Flatten it, going around. Try and get as close as possible to your leaves with your paper stump. It's nice to have a paper stump with a thick point or a sharp point to do this, and it's nice and long. And you can see my paper stump is very dark against a new paper stump because I actually literally dipped this into the baby oil. So if I press very hard, I think I can get some baby oil out of this. So it's always lubricated. Go over your entire design and then take the Teflon tool, and then we need to tidy up. Now it's important to get into these little corners, and that's why I like using the Teflon tool that has a tip, because I can now use that tip of my Teflon tool to get into this little tight corner here to tidy up. So we work our way around our design. And then once we're done with the Teflon tool, we need to take our metal ball tool and then trace one time over the entire design and get into that little corners Make sure that we've got nice, smooth, clean edges before we can continue with the next one. And I'm not going to go with my ball tool. I'm not going to go over this line, because if I do that, I'm going to flatten everything again. So as soon as I apply pressure on these lines, it's going to bring this whole design down. So we want to define this later, when after we've done the filling, we'll come back and we define these lines again. For now, we're just tracing the outside and making sure that that is nice and tidy. Okay, so that gave me a lot of height, and I'm happy with the height. You can add some more height from the back, which I'll do now, but I'm not going to add height here. I just want to bring out this little curve a bit so that it's a bit higher than that. So we're going to add just a little bit of height on these outer parts of the design of the leaf. So to do that, we need to go back onto our felt, and we're going to work from the back of our pewter. So we're going to work on our felt, and I'm working on 4 layers of felt material. That is just one long piece that is folded into 4 layers. So I've got a nice comfy cushion for my pewter to lie on. I'm working from the back of my pewter now. And I'm going to take my paper stump, and this paper stump of mine has got a sharp point on the one side, which is very sharp, which is the one that I flatten with. So it stays sharp because I work on a flat angle. And then the other side is slightly soft and a bit more rounded. So that's the point that I'm going to use now. It's going to be a smallish, soft point. A thick one like this won't work because I won't be able to get into all of the space that I have here. So I'm going to use a smallish, soft point paper stump. And like I said before, don't add a lot of height, add a little bit at a time, and then you can always come back and add some more. So in a soft motion, I'm just going to color in this outside design area here very slightly, because I don't want to lose this definition line. So very slightly, I'm just coloring in. I'm just basically concentrating on this area, this curved area here, more than I'm concentrating on the edges. So I just want this to tilt out a little bit, and then I'm going to do all of them in one go. Okay, once you've done adding your line, your height from the back, you need to remove your layers of felt and then turn your pewter face up again. And when you turn your pewter, always turn your pewter using both hands. You don't want to let it slip and fall because it's lubricated on the front, so it can slip easily. So use both hands to turn it, and very delicately. And then I need to flatten again from the front on my tile, my hard surface, using my paper stump at a flat angle. I flatten the same manner as we did previously, because we edited the pewter, or we modified the pewter from the back. There's space that we need to get rid of. All of this height around my flower, I need to get rid of it. And we're flattening towards our flower to put all of that space into the flower. And after we flatten with the paper stump, we need to go again and define or smooth out with the Teflon tool. So with the Teflon tool, smooth out the edges again. So once we fold the design with beeswax, we're going to come back to the central part while the beeswax is still nice and warm before it's fully set. And then we're going to flatten ever so slightly just the inside edge of that line, just to give you that effect of the leaf folding over. We won't do it now, we'll do it once we have a little bit of support from the back. And then after the Teflon tool, I need to define with the ball tool. And I'm defining with the bigger ball tool. And the reason why I'm defining with the bigger ball tool is I don't want to scratch out my pewter too thin, which is what the smaller one will do at this stage. Because every time you trace, you have to remember you're removing a little bit of your pewter. So these edges are becoming very thin. So it's easy to get a hole in your pewter at this stage.